Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by Bell Tire. With 3 games to go in the 2015 season, we make our final road stop of the year, and we come to you from Chicago tonight, where it's Game 1 in this 3-game series featuring the Tigers and the Chicago White Sox. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba alongside Ron Allen. We're glad to have you with us here tonight as the Tigers begin to wind down 2015. And really, Ron, coming into this year, I think most of us thought these were 2 teams that were going to battle for the title in the Central. Hasn't worked out that way. They're playing for pride this weekend.
Well, most definitely the Chicago White Sox. They won the Hot Stove League over the offseason. They added a #1 starter in Samardzija. They also added a real nice bullpen piece. They added a couple of offensive players, but they didn't get it done. And, of course, the Tigers, a lot of people thought they'd be playing for a World Series this year with all their talent they've had the last number of years, but it wasn't meant to be for either of these clubs this year.
All right, they still boast 2 of the better power hitters in the game. We'll see them in this series. J.D. Martinez for the Tigers, and, of course, Jose Abreu for the Chicago White Sox. Both of these guys are 28 years of age. The numbers are very comparable of what they've done this year, and they have really done some fabulous things.
Well, let's start with Jose Abreu. 30 homers, 101 driven in. He is only the 2nd player in the history of the game in his first 2 seasons in the major leagues that can boast that up with Albert Pujols of the Los Angeles Angels. J.D. Martinez, he is just a couple of home runs shy of 40. This is a wonderful ballpark to try to get it in. Normally, you don't want to try to hit home runs, but in J.D.'s case, it would be awfully special if he was that 9th player this year to have 40 or more home runs.
All right, it is a chilly evening here at the U.S. Cellular Field. Not the ideal conditions to face a guy like Chris Sale, to be sure, but that's the task tonight.
You know, one thing about Chris Sale, I mean, his stuff is so dominant. His stuff is so lethal. He's got that fastball that moves all over the place, that gets up to 95, 96 miles an hour. He's got a legitimate, and I mean legitimate, swing and miss slide piece, and his changeup is very underrated. He is a couple of strikeouts shy of setting a single season record for strikeouts for the Chicago White Sox, a record that has been held for over a century. So once he gets to 269 here today, or 270, he is going to pass that record, and deservedly so. He's one guy that's kind of upheld his end of the bargain, even though the White Sox have had a very disappointing season.
All right, Tigers baseball just minutes away. In the meantime, we'll send you back to the Call Sam Studios after a short break. We check in with Justin White, but coming up in this one here tonight, Alfredo Simon toes the slab for the Tigers, hoping to win his 14th in his final start of 2015. Tonight, just 57 at game time. A lot of wind blowing out toward right field, from left to right to be exact. So it's going to be a little bit challenging as far as the elements are concerned here tonight. But nonetheless, the Tigers and the Chicago White Sox get together. Tigers starting lineup presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Rajai Davis will lead off. He'll play in left field, followed by Andrew Romine playing first base tonight. Miggy is out of the lineup. J.D. Martinez at right. Castellanos batting cleanup at third. Marte will be the DH. McCann will do the catching. And a bottom three of Machado, Wilson, and Anthony Gose. And it's not going to be easy tonight. Chris Sale is out of bounds for the White Sox.
And Sale has dominant stuff, as you can see, with the 267 strikeouts already this season with a 3.48 ERA. The 3.48 ERA represents his highest in the majors, so he's punching out a bunch, but he's giving up a few runs, and he struggled in his last start against the Tigers. That was back in May. Let's take a look at the Chicago White Sox starting defense. It is brought to you by Tim Hortons. Shuck, Eaton, Thompson in the outfield. Saldina, Ramirez, Sanchez, LaRoche in the infield. Tyler Flowers is the catcher. 85% stolen base percentage allowed this season, second highest in the American League.
So if Rajai Davis gets on, perhaps he will test Mr. Flowers. It'll be Davis to start things off against Chris Sale. And here we go. The first pitch tonight is in for a strike, 0-1. Davis, then Romine, and then J.D. Martinez.
Chris Sale works awfully quick. So if you're the Tigers batters, you have to make sure that you slow him down. Do not let him get in this kind of rhythm that he's been in through the very first two pitches of the game.
Here's the 0-2. Blown away, 1 ball, 2 strikes on Davis. Rajai is batting .261, 3 for 9 in the series just completed in Texas. And he checked that one foul. 1-2 the count stays.
Rajai Davis also with pretty good career numbers against Chris Sale, one of the two Tigers that can boast that. Victor Martinez the other, but Victor not in the starting lineup here this evening.
Rajai right now enjoying an 8-game hitting streak, and in the month of September, very good, 344. Again, the 1-2, and Davis swings and misses through a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. And that was up beyond the letters.
On a cold night tonight, it's not going to be very fun facing a guy like Chris Sale, who has the electric stuff. Fastball up to 98 with the slider and the changeup.
So with one out, here is Andrew Romine batting in the 2 spot and playing for Cabrera tonight at first base. Tigers are without Victor Martinez and Miguel Cabrera in the starting lineup this evening. Nothing going on with Miggy, just getting him a night off here. Brad said he would probably play in 1, if 2 in the Chicago series. The 1-0 is swung on and missed, 1-1.
Miguel pretty much guaranteed to win his 4th American League batting title in the last 5 years. Xander Bogaerts of the Boston Red Sox. He's not going to catch Miguel.
Chopper hit to the second baseman. That'll be Sanchez to gobble it up. 2 gone. Couple of quick outs for Chris Sale. Umpires on the infield all bundled up tonight. They've got the big jackets going. They've got the gloves going as well. As we told you earlier, 57 degrees at game time. And,
one of those kind of nights.
It's going to be dropping, I'm sure. Here is J.D. Martinez. He'll bat with 2 outs. J.D. career against Sale is 300. That bends outside, 1-0. 284 this year for Martinez, 101 in the RBI column. Only question right now is, can he get to 40 home runs?
The way that wind is blowing out to right field here this evening, if J.D. can get up 1 to right field, no doubt he can hit a couple in this series. He can get a couple tonight.
Yeah, a normal fly ball to right field might carry out tonight.
Sale looks like he's on one here tonight, though. 97, 98 already here in the very first inning. His last start of the year, he's not going to leave anything out on the field.
268 strikeouts now for Sale. Needs 1 more to tie their single season record. It missed outside. The count goes 3-1 on J.D. Martinez. Castellanos waiting on deck. And he lost him, ball 4. 2-out walk for J.D. Now Castellanos batting in the cleanup slot.
Castellanos has had a real nice year, up and down, and he's really done nice work this season against left-handed pitching. And third best batting average against left-handers in the American League, 364.
However, this is not a normal lefty. And Castellanos just 1 for 13 career against Sale.
That's not good.
No, let's see if we can turn that around right here. Swing and a miss, 0-1.
First changeup of the evening thrown by Chris Sale.
Nick, over his last 39 games, hitting at a 317 clip. Career high 72 driven in this year. Straighten him up. The fastball from Sale, 97, 98 in that range early on in this game. Sale looking to finish the season with his 13th win. Came in a little over 500. Swing and miss.
Take the donut off.
It just seems that way, doesn't it?
Wow.
97.
That ball was in the glove when he swung.
One and 2 on Castellanos. It'll bounce in. This is only Nick's second plate appearance batting in the cleanup slots. I mentioned Victor Martinez not playing. Brad said before the game today that Victor's quad is still bothering him. So whether or not he plays the rest of the year, we'll just have to wait and see. There's only 2 games left in the season after this one. Marte waiting on deck. Way outside, and the count fills now 3-2. That'll send Martinez on the move here with 2 outs. Two out base on balls to JD. And Flowers wants the fastball. Swing and a miss. He threw it by him at 98. Chris Sale with his second strikeout. 1-2-3 inning. Here comes Alfredo Simon. Who is presented tonight by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
And Simon is trying to get to number 114, making his 34th start of the season. And who would have thunk it? When the season began, they had Price, they had Sanchez, guys like Verlander, but he is going to make more starts this season than any of them because of the trade of Price and the injuries to the other guys.
So Simon ready to go to work here in this one in a scoreless game. The Tigers got a walk but could not score in the top of the first. Adam Eaton, their leadoff man, will start things off, batting .284 this year. Eaton with 14 homers, enjoying a 7-game hitting streak right now. And in that stretch, as you see, .370. There's a strike called. 1-1 on Eaton.
Eaton, good leadoff man. He's got some power. He's got some speed. Hit 14 homers this year. Only won all of last year. He's also a pretty good defender in center.
The chopper toward third base. Castellanos barehanding. No chance though with the speed of Eaton. They could not get anything on that throw. Here's the rest of the lineup tonight for the White Sox, presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers tonight. We saw Eaton in the leadoff slot. He'll be followed by Alexei Ramirez, the shortstop, then Melky Cabrera, the DH. Trace Thompson in left. J.B. Shuck is in right. LaRoche at first, and the bottom three of Flowers, Sanchez, and Saladino. Well, Jose Abreu tonight for the Chicago White Sox. Here's Ramirez.
That was the 25th infield single for Adam Eaton this season, and you can imagine that leads their team.
And Ramirez looks at a strike. Eaton is certainly a threat to run. He has 17 swipes, but he has been caught 8 times this year. Ramirez sits safely in his last 3, batting .250. Draws the throw, and he just got back in there. It looked like Eaton was shuffling his feet. Went back in there awkwardly. Looked like he might have tweaked something. So Simon goes right back in there at first base. 68% this year. Ramirez batting in the 2 slot. .312 over his last 28 ball games. He sends one high in the air to center field. That'll be playable for Ghosts. 1 out.
Let's take a look at the Tigers starting defense. It is presented by Beaumont Health. And the outfield reads right to left. Martinez, Ghost, and Davis. Castellanos, Machado, Wilson, and Romine. Romine has had starts at every single infield position this year. Very valuable to the Tigers in 2015. And the rookie, James McCann, finishing up strong behind the dish.
Brad and the rest of the staff all jacketed up tonight. That the chilly temps and the wind blowing here at the ballpark tonight. It's been windy here the last couple of days. Melky Cabrera is batting now with 1 on 1 out. .23 doubles since the All-Star break, the most in the American League. Runner bluffs. McCann will throw back. Tag not in time.
Looked like Eaton at first base, entertaining the thought of stealing a bag, a couple of hard steps. And McCann noticed that and fired to Romine, but not in time.
Cabrera batting .275 this year, 12 home runs. And it'll bounce in the dirt. McCann will throw down. Eaton trying to move up, and he will. And the wild pitch.
That's a really good read by Adam Eaton. Now that ball bounced in the dirt, and he was off as soon as the ball hit the dirt. It only trickled a couple of feet away from McCann, but by the time he was able to pick it up, Eaton was head first sliding into second base safely.
Now an RBI chance for Melky Cabrera. Here's Simon's 1-1. High pop up, shallow right field. The second baseman Wilson calling, drifting and making the catch. It'll be kind of an adventure, I would think, here with the wind blowing out toward right field. Anything hit that way, gonna be tough.
Well, it looks like J.D. Martinez and Wilson are also talking about how they're going to handle this situation with the wind blowing out. J.D. Martinez very easily could have taken that ball, and it would have been a much easier play for J.D.
So with 2 outs now, here is Trace Thompson. He's having a fine year so far this season. 440 at home, 310 overall. And he'll look at a ball inside. Thompson, one of a couple of players in this White Sox lineup that is getting a very long look here in the month of September and down the stretch here. Thompson, they've got Carlos Sanchez, who's played really well at second base, figures to be part of their future, and Tyler Saladino, their third baseman tonight. Here's Simons 1-0. Outside, 2 balls, no strikes. Leadoff infield hit by Eden. He's at second with 2 outs. Tigers trying to win the season series with a victory here tonight. They have not lost a season series to the White Sox since 2008.
And if the Tigers are able to win this series, win 2 of 3, and from the White Sox will finish in last place, not the Tigers. And right now, the Tigers are in last place in the Central by a half a game. Real nice off-speed pitch there thrown by Alfredo at 75 miles an hour. Thompson, the rookie outfielder, could not pull the bat off his shoulder. It froze him. Little curveball.
Now the 2-1. On the ground to third on an easy hop. Castellanos has it, and that'll be it for the White Sox. No runs. Leadoff single. 1 man left. We go to the second in Chicago. On in this weekend series to wrap up 2015. Chris Sale goes back to the hill, and he's facing Jeffrey Marte, who leads it on. Marte, McCann, Machado, these are the 5, 6, and 7 hitters. The Tigers starting 9 tonight. Marte serving as the designated hitter. And he'll take a strike right at the belt. 1-1.
Most of Chris Sale's fastballs thrown so far this evening have been 96 miles an hour and above. He's gotten all the way up to 98.
Drilled to left field. On the move is the left fielder Thompson, and that was going to carry over the wall. A line drive home run for Marte.
He cut right through the teeth of the wind. That was a 96 mile per hour fastball that he was able to tomahawk out of the yard into the White Sox bullpen.
Marte hits his 4th of the year, and the Tigers have a 1-0 lead. A missile out to left.
And last time they saw Sale in this ballpark, he lasted only 5 1/3 innings, and the Tigers scored 5 runs against him. That ball up, and it's amazing that Marte able to climb the ladder and barrel that ball up the way that he did.
You just don't see that very often.
Not at 96.
So the Tigers have the lead. And when Sale's way outside of the backstop. That is the 8th home run that Sale has allowed in his last 5 starts. James McCann batting here with nobody out, to run in. 96 that McCann swings through. 266 this year for McCann. But in his last 16, he's over a 300 clip. 1 ball, 2 strikes. McCann has hit safely in his last 4 in a row. 323 this year versus lefties. Here's the 1-2 pitch.
Where'd that come from?
No, I've never seen him throw that.
I've never seen him do that either. Hopefully he doesn't do it again.
2-2. Checked it. Did he go? Did not. Full count now on McCann. Dixon Machado waiting on deck. And he got him, strike 3, and Chris Sale has just established the single season record for strikeouts in White Sox history.
That record lasted 107 years.
And the fans here in Chicago giving him a nice round of applause. Strikeout number 270 on the year for Chris Sale. In a season in which Sox fans have not had too much to cheer about, they're letting Sale know of their appreciation. Meanwhile, Machado standing out of the batter's box doing the right thing here as Sale gets his round of applause. And Machado shoots one on the ground and through into left field, base hit. It's a 1-out single for Dixon. We'll bring up Josh Wilson. Dixon Machado can now say he's batting 1,000 against Chris Sale.
Might as well stop now.
Might as well. Can only go down.
Exactly.
Wilson is batting 290. That'll get away from Flowers to advance the runners. Machado moves up. Pass ball charged to Flowers. Wilson this year with 4 RBIs, a chance to drive one in here, and he lines one to right field. It's going to drop, base hit. Shuck will play it on 1 hop, and Machado goes to third and stops there. Stay tuned to Tigers Live. Following the game, we'll select the Fox Sports Detroit Tigers Player of the Game, presented by McDonald's Steak and Egg Burritos. So Sale has the strikeout record here, but the Tigers are unfazed. They have 3 hits against him in this inning.
Yeah, Marte, Machado, and Wilson. Yeah, 3 guys that spent the majority of the time in the minors with the 3 hits here in the second frame.
Here's Anthony Gose. Still only 1 out.
Yeah, tough assignment for Anthony Gose tonight against Sale. He holds left-handed batters to a 199 batting average.
Gose 3 for 13 in the series that was just completed against the Rangers. One of the things that Brad said he wants to see some improvement on with Gose is his ability to hit left-handed pitching, which certainly would make it a lot easier to least next year, give him an opportunity to play center field every day, as he pretty much has done this year. That's one area that he hopes to see some improvement in. Goes just 188 versus lefties. Chopper to the second baseman. He'll fire to second one. Ramirez with a double play turn. They'll go 4-6-3 to end the inning. Tigers get a run on the Marte homer.
They were wearing as what was left uncovered when the Tigers left Texas to make their way here to Chicago. It was the annual rite of passage where the rookies are dressed up. Their clothes is taken away from them, and they have an elaborate costume. This year's theme, Cowboys and Indians. And chaps are really never a good look, Mario and Rod. But Daniel Norris put it in perspective, much better than what he had to wear last year when he was a rookie with the Blue Jays, and he was sporting fishnet stockings.
Oh, that's way too much skin, John, on that photo.
And it's cold here. They had to make that little walk, maybe 2 or 3 blocks. The bus stops away from the hotel, and 3 o'clock in the morning, all the rookies making their way through the streets of Chicago on their way to the hotel on Michigan Avenue.
Welcome to the big leagues.
So Norris was a 2-time loser last year and this year.
If you don't get the service time in, you have to do it again. So that's all the motivation these guys need to stay at the major league level, because for the love of God, you don't want to do that again.
No, you don't. Thanks, Skeets. I tell you what, man, that's one part of baseball I could do without. One tradition I could do without. I don't need to see that.
Well, we get a chance to witness it every single year, and the guys, they put on an awesome show every year.
Here's Adam LaRoche with 1 out. Tigers on top 1-0 on the Jeffrey Marte homer. 183 at home this year for LaRoche. It's been a subpar season for him. When you consider that last year he hit 26 homers, knocked in 92 for Washington, the number's way down this year.
Yeah, they thought they would get at least that this season, and they were getting themselves a potential Gold Glove winner at first base in LaRoche, and that would have allowed Abreu to DH more. Melky Cabrera didn't produce. Another move they made in the offseason. Samardzija had a poor season as well as a starter. Didn't work out for the White Sox this season.
Here's the 2-0. They play the shift on with the defenders shifted around to the right side of the infield. LaRoche in the month of September batting just 167. Beyond that, he's knocked in only 1 run this month. 3-1. Adam LaRoche. Tyler Flowers is waiting on deck.
It's October now.
Oh, good point. Forgot about that. LaRoche is out of there too, gone.
It is October, isn't it?
It is.
Hey, we're playing baseball in October. Our streak is still alive. Hey, deposits are now being accepted for 2016 Tigers full and partial season ticket plans. Call 313-471-BALL today or visit Tigers.com. 2 gone now for Tyler Flowers. Flowers at 237, 9 home runs. Foul back out of play. Simon, after that leadoff single by Eaton, has retired 5 in a row. Alfredo trying to finish up strong here and finish up with a victory. It would be his 14th of the year if he can earn one tonight.
And Tigers, they thought they were going to get more out of Alfredo this year. He made an all-star team last year in Cincinnati. Even though he struggled the second half of the year, they felt like his second year as a starter, he would be able to make the adjustments to put up a really good year. He's had some good starts, but by and large, Simon has really struggled.
Yeah, he's had some dominant starts. That one hitter comes to mind. That ball's drilled. It's hooking down the left field line. And that ball is going to drop foul.
Anything hit up in the air, like that ball was just hit by Flowers, is going to be knocked down by that jet stream that is blowing left to right. And Rajai Davis ran over for that ball, which looked like it was headed out of the ballpark, and it landed 20 feet in front of the foul territory.
The wind just absolutely grabbed this thing.
Look at where he was.
Stopped it. It was crushed.
If you're going to hit anything out to left today, it's got to be on the line like Marte's was last half inning.
Yeah, no doubt, on a clothesline. Now at 1-2. That's popped up. Roline coming over. Andrew makes the play. It's a 1-2-3 inning. Tigers baseball from Chicago tonight, presented by Bell Tire. Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be when it's time. Come to Comerica. Chrysler, celebrate 90 years of innovation and get a great deal at the Chrysler Anniversary Celebration event. And by Kraft, make something amazing. Back here in the Windy City, we're in Chicago. It's 1-0 in favor of the Tigers on the home run by Jeffrey Marte.
Nice shot at Navy Pier there.
Great city.
Oh, and then some.
Rajai Davis leads it off here in the third.
Did you enjoy your day off?
I did.
Spend any money?
A little bit. I didn't go overboard. It was really windy yesterday, cold too. This line to left field and caught. Trace Thompson, 1 out. How about you?
I went out and had dinner last night. Didn't do much beyond that.
You got a birthday coming.
I do. Monday.
Nice.
Yep.
about 29, 30 years old now.
Yeah, that's it.
We'll go with that.
Sounds good to me.
Here is Andrew Romine. He grounded out to the second baseman. This time he'll bounce one to third and straight is Saladino, who throws him out. 2 gone. Chris Sale has needed just 3 pitches to get 2 outs. Here is J.D. Martinez. Base on balls back in the first inning.
Saw JD's dad at the hotel today. I know he's probably in town to watch his son's final 3 games and maybe watch his son get to 40 homers.
You know, I heard Craig Monroe talking about this on Tigers Live pregame about when you go up there trying to hit home runs, it very rarely happens. Do you subscribe to that as well?
I agree with that 100%. But in JD's case, I'm still going for it here this weekend.
There's no doubt.
But Craig is absolutely 100% correct. But with that wind blowing out to right field, I'm inside outing everything here this evening, trying to get one up in that jet stream. Tigers are leaving the strike zone quite frequently this evening on those fastballs that are up in the strike zone, thrown anywhere from 96 to 98 miles an hour. Somehow, some way, you have to try to lay off of that. I know Marte was able to connect last half inning for a solo shot, but by and large, you're not going to hit that pitch. Ratio not great so far for Sale through 40 pitches.
Sale has gotten 10 swings and misses so far tonight. Of course, when you have that fastball, it's been anywhere from 95 to 98. That'll hit. Here's the 2-2. Thought about it. 3 balls, 2 strikes on JD. Martinez had a 3-hit game in Texas on Wednesday to close out that series.
He was hitting the ball extremely hard on Wednesday night. We had one of his hit speeds at 106.
Got him looking. Strike 3 and 1-2-3. Go the Tigers. JD didn't like it. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd in Chicago. 1-0 Detroit.
He was back on August 20th at Comerica Park, his first ever complete game shutout. He gave up just 1 knock in that game against a pretty good offensive club in the Texas Rangers.
1 hit, couple of walks, 5 punch-outs.
He also had another start that was very memorable for me, too. It was only his 2nd start of the year in a Tigers uniform. It was in Pittsburgh, and he gave up 2 hits in that game, did not give up a run in 8 innings. He was dominant that night, too.
Yeah, in fact, he came out of the gates winning 4 in a row. Bouncing ball right side, it finds a hole. Sanchez with a leadoff single.
be the second hit of the game for Chicago. Simon had wins in Cleveland, in Pittsburgh, and then at home against the Yankees and the Indians again. Started the season 4-0, and boy, he was awfully dominant.
Yeah, he was rolling.
Here's Tyler Saladino, the number 9 hitter. 227 this year, 4 home runs. Tried to offer up a bunt, but it missed outside. 1-0. Saladino called up in July the 10th to be exact. He's played 30. He's played short.
Robin Ventura, the manager of the Chicago White Sox, was told today by their general manager, Rick Hahn, that he would return next season. And the majority of his coaching staff.
Apparently Mark Parent is not returning next year. He was told of that decision last night.
And he was the bench coach for Robin the last number of years. There's Don Cooper. He's the pitching coach there, seated to the left of Robin. He's been their pitching coach through 3 different managers. Coop, they call him.
1 ball, 1 strike on Saladino. And he hit him. And so the White Sox now have 2 on and nobody out. Time for a game break. We check in with Justin White. All right, J-Dub, thanks. That Texas magic number down to 1. The Rangers trying to zero in on that AL West title.
The Rangers are already in the postseason, but they would like to lock up the division.
Wind really starting to pick up now as Eaton looks at a strike 0-1.
Mario, they could possibly have 3 teams tying for the wild card in the American League this season. Which would be crazy.
It would be nuts. And, you know, you sit there and you try and figure out who would play where if, you know, they finished in a 3-way tie. And it's really kind of an in-depth thing to look at. But it's nuts, man. If you get a 3-way tie for the wild card, that's sliced down the left field line. You can make an argument that maybe even Major League Baseball doesn't know where most teams would play or how they would decide who is going to win the wild card, the second wild card. Yankees are already in. They have clinched the first wild card. And the other thing that's being played for right now is home field advantage. Toronto and Kansas City trying to have the best records so they have home field throughout.
They are tied right now neck and neck, but Toronto has had a better series against Kansas City, so they're basically a game up on Kansas City, even though their records are identical right now.
0-2 on Adam Eaton, who had an infield single in the first inning. Slice to left center field. That's going to get down and score a run. And it's going to get by Ghost and go all the way to the wall. Here comes Saladino rounding third. They'll send him home. He will score. Throwback to the bag is in time. Eaton rounding the bag, trying to get back, and he's thrown out. But 2-run score on a double. And the White Sox have their first lead.
There's a 92-mile-per-hour cut fastball that Eaton somehow pulls his hands in nicely and barrels it up. And once the ball hits the grass, it just skids all the way to the warning track up against the wall. Ghost comes up, fires to the cutoff man, and a very nice job by Dixon Machado throwing behind the runner to get the out at second.
White Sox are not challenging that play as a strike is called on Ramirez. Double 2 RBIs. Put out goes 8-6-3. Bouncing ball to third. Castellanos to his left. 2 away. Well, October means baseball, and FS1 continues to be your home for postseason action with the American League Division Championship Series. Don't miss a moment of the drama or the history. It all begins Thursday on FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Here's Melky Cabrera with 2 outs. Ball 1. Cabrera popped up in his only at bat.
Do you watch a lot of the postseason baseball at the end of the year? I know the Tigers have been in it a lot. We'll finish the conversation after this pop-up is caught, but I'm wondering how much you watch in the offseason.
Yeah, we'll get into it. The short answer is yes. It's kind of hard to watch it all season and then turn it on. 2-1 is our score. .271 for the year. Not only leads the American League, but he set a White Sox single season record that stood since 1908, which is really kind of remarkable.
4th most strikeouts by an American League lefty since 1995.
Well, the strikeouts per 9, he's going to break that record, which he established, and a strikeout to walk ratio, which is about 6.5 to 1. So what a season it has been for Sale in terms of the strikeouts.
Clayton Kershaw will lead the National League in strikeouts, and you have Sale going to lead the American League in strikeouts. A couple left-handers.
Nick Castellanos gets it going now. The Tigers trailing for the first time tonight, 2-1. Go to the top of the 4th inning. Castellanos, Marte, and McCann. First one rolled foul. Castellanos was overmatched in that first inning by 98-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah, he was looking for that 98-mile-per-hour fastball there on the first offering from Sale. And Sale, he pulled the string on Castellanos. He turned a changeup at 88 miles an hour.
Swing and a miss.
Fastball, slider.
Opponent's career average against his slider is only 156. This outside 1-2 on Nick.
It's not going to be long before Sale throws a no-hitter. He's got that kind of stuff.
Foul away.
When he first signed, he pitched out of the bullpen for the Chicago White Sox. Did not stay in the minor leagues very long after he was drafted. He was told by Kenny Williams, who was the general manager at that time, we would like you to sign very quickly because we want you in the big leagues this year. And he was in the big leagues the same year that he signed. They made him a starter the following year.
Broken bat, roller toward third. Saladino has it. One gone in the fourth. We'll bring up Marte.
So you do watch a lot of the postseason baseball all the way through?
Yeah, you know, you get to the end of the season. Of course, the Tigers have been in it for the last 4 years, and so you want to keep up, obviously, in what's going on. But it's just hard to turn that stuff off because all the games are just, I don't know. There's a lot of drama in the postseason.
Yeah.
I love it,
and especially for guys like us that have been in baseball as long as we've been in baseball.
Yeah, you really have a hard time. I mean, you might say to yourself, well, I've seen enough baseball. I may not watch this game, but you end up watching it anyway. Here's the 0-1 to Marte. And a strike called 0-2. The wild card game alone last year had so much drama in it that if that didn't hook you onto the postseason, nothing would.
There's going to be another one of those this year, too, in the National League between Pittsburgh and the Cubbies. And that will be Arrieta against Cole. The Dodgers in the Mets series is also very intriguing in the senior circuit.
That is 50 now for Sale, 30 of which are strikes. Marte shoots one to center field, but Eaton is back there. Pretty good contact on both at bats for Marte. 2 up, 2 down. The Bernstein advantage brings you the pitcher-batter matchup for McCann against lefties. And for James, this is pretty good. 323 against lefties this season. You got to go back to Sandy Alomar for a rookie catcher to have a better mark against lefties.
Look at Junior. He was at 376.
McCann struck out in the second. And a wave and a miss, 0-1.
A lot of those swings and misses so far today. Electric stuff by Sale. Fastball up to 98. Real good slider. Real nice changeup. Backdoor slider there.
0-2 on McCann.
Hitters will tell you because of the long frame of Chris Sale and his wingspan, when he delivers the ball, it literally looks like it's the second baseman throwing you the baseball. And from that arm angle, it's not an arm angle that you see very often.
He is 6 feet 6 inches tall, 180 pounds.
And then when you add in his stuff, 98 with the slider and the changeup, he becomes a real difficult at bat.
Swing and a miss. 95 up the letters. Down goes McCann for the second time via the strikeout. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Chris Sale. Get to the postseason, they will be the top wild card. Their victory last night, and the Yankees, well, Alex Rodriguez had a comeback here this year. They've got a really solid back end of that bullpen, and a lot of, I think, enough offensive pieces to make some noise. Rather, pretty good team.
Yeah, they've had a nice year. I mean, they're going to miss Teixeira, who's lost for the year. They miss his bat against left-handed pitching, but by and large, the Yankees have had a really nice year.
Here is Thompson.
What do you think about the Pittsburgh Pirates? The only team that is going to the postseason that really didn't celebrate. I mean, they just didn't celebrate like all the other teams. What's your take on that?
Well, it comes up every year. And people in other sports, whether it's hockey, basketball, football, they wonder why baseball celebrates as many times as they do. It's fouled off and don't play. You know, in terms of getting into the playoffs, and if you win the wild card, you celebrate. If you win the DS, you celebrate. The CS, you celebrate. You know, having been around baseball a long, long time, and you played it at this level, it is so hard to win. It is so hard to win a division, to win a championship series. I say go for it.
I do too.
You know what? It's a long summer. These guys grind it out like no other sport. I don't have a problem.
I know they have lost the wild card game the last couple of years, and that's probably one of the reasons why they didn't celebrate this time around. But you know what? Go for it.
Here's the 1-2. Slow 2-2. It's amazing. That Pittsburgh team has won 96 ball games.
Really, the best three teams in that National League, for the most part, are coming out of that division. And it's a shame that one of the two teams, the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Chicago Cubs, one of the two will go home.
It doesn't seem right.
After next Wednesday.
Right back to the second baseman, perfectly played. Wilson, who throws him out. So look at these numbers here in the National League Central. You've got the Cardinals, who have won 100 ball games this year.
Whoa.
And then you got Pittsburgh at 96 and the Cubs at 94, and they're trying to decide who's going to host that wild card game. Right now it looks like Pittsburgh, but I'll tell you what, those are three really good teams. Cubs have the third best record in Major League Baseball, and they're third in their division.
How about that?
It pretty much sums it up. J.B. Shuck looks at ball one. 2-1. The White Sox have the lead. 2 runs, 3 hits for Chicago. 1 run, 3 hits for the Tigers. Chopper back up the middle, but Machado is there. 2 ground ball outs. That'll bring up Adam LaRoche.
Simon has already gotten quite a few ground ball outs in tonight's game. And with the wind blowing out as hard as it is to right field, he's done a nice job of keeping the ball down in the strike zone.
6 ground ball outs. Pitch into contact, even though the wind is blowing very sharply this evening, but it is changing direction a bit.
Yeah, like kind of blowing straight in now.
It was blowing out to right field, that is. Ball 1 to LaRoche. He bounced out to the right side of the infield his first time up. Skies this one in the air to shallow left center field. Machado calls and catches, and a 1-2-3 inning for Simon for the books in Chicago.
brought to you by Bell Tire. Get the lowest tire price, period. Bell Tire. Myers, save big with M-Perks from Myers. Sign up at mperks.com. And by Chevrolet, find new roads. Chilly, chilly, chilly in Chicago tonight. Temperature was 57 at game time.
It will not stop the folks in here in Chicago from getting out there, though. It will be busy over there where we're staying.
Could be snowing a foot out there. People are just going to mill it around town. Well, here come the Tigers now as we go to the 5th inning. Dixon Machado leads it off. Machado, Wilson, Ghosts.
Sale has 14 swings and misses this year. Tigers have swung and missed 14 times already this game. And get this, Simon has none. The Chicago White Sox have swung or fouled off every single pitch that he has thrown today. No swings and misses for Alfredo.
Bouncing ball to third. Saladino slings it over to first for the out. One away. That'll bring up Wilson. You would think it's almost impossible to get through 4 full innings without a swing and a miss.
That's right.
Simon has given up the 2-run double to Eaton. That is the only blemish on his mark in this one, but the White Sox took the lead with that hit. Foul back 0-1 on Wilson, who singled to right field in his first at bat. Josh, way back in the month of June here in this ballpark, had a 4-hit game for the Tigers. Going 2. See the wind ruffling the jerseys. That's how windy it is here at the ballpark. Pulled to the shortstop on one hop. Ramirez. 2 up, 2 away. It's 9 straight retired by Chris Sale. Here's Anthony Ghosts. Ghosts hit into a double play back in the second. 4.63 variety. Talking about the Ausmus saying that one of the things that Ghost needs to improve on is his average against lefties, also his base running, which Anthony has admitted has not been as sharp as he had wanted this year. And a lot of it has to do, I think, sometimes with getting secondary leads, knowing the situation. It's not necessarily speed or picking the pitch to run, but it's some of the intricacies of stealing bases.
It's kind of thinking the game before it happens, really.
Line to left field. Thompson on the move, not going to get it. Ball hops the wall. Going to be a ground rule double for Ghosts.
It goes. I mean, sometimes you just have to think the situation before it happens. When you're in the batter's box and when you're on base, you have to anticipate what you might do. And I think he has the talent to be a really good everyday player. The base running will improve, and his offensive numbers against lefties will improve too. That's a 95-mile-per-hour fastball that's on the inner third that slices over the head of the left fielder Thompson for a double.
9 straight had been retired before that 2-base hit. It'll be the 4th hit of the game for the Tigers now. Davis trying to score him. Ball 1 to Rajay. He struck out in the first, lined out in the third. Davis, an 8-game hitting streak, which is 2 shy of his season high. Had a 10-gamer in the month of June. He laid off a pitch, low and away, 2-1. Really good final month of the year for Davis, 344. When there is strike call, Rajay, you can tell by his body language, did not like it. The fact that he's shaking his head also indicates he did not like it. 2-2.
Menards brings you the big money encounter, and wasn't that long ago, just back in September. And that was Duke on the mound, left-hander Rajay Davis sliced one down in the right field corner for a game winner, a walk-off against Chicago White Sox. Anthony goes, and with the slide at home, that was a triple by Rajay.
If memory serves, Ghost drew a 2-out walk to get that rally started.
He did.
Rajay cashed him in. Romine waiting on deck. High fly ball, right center field. Eaton coming over. So is the right fielder Shuck. And that ball is caught for the final out. It was a little bit of an adventure out there. You're watching Tigers baseball tonight, presented by Bell Tire. We go to the bottom of the fifth here at U.S. Cellular Field. Here's the breakdown on Simon's 6 ground ball outs.
Pitched to a lot of contact. Fly outs, 5 of those. 0 swings and misses.
Ball 1 to Tyler Flowers, bottom 3 coming up for Chicago. Three Flowers, Sanchez, Saladino in the bottom of the fifth. 2-run double by Adam Eaton. The difference in this game, Marte has a homer for the Tigers. Ground ball, base hit, right field. Half swing there, and he poked it into right. Leadoff man on. Hey, Detroit's #1 mascot, Paws, is available to appear at your next special event. Bring Major League fun to birthday parties, corporate events, parades, school functions. To book Paws for your next special event, visit tigers.com/Paws.
Paws tried to stack some more chips for the offseason.
There's nothing wrong with that. Stack some chips. Here is Sanchez, who fouls it off.
And Paul said no postseason this year, but I'm available.
Paul's got to eat, you know. Oh, man. Sanchez a single and a run scored in the third. Leading off the bag at first base, Flowers. And he drafts down a bunt foul. Sanchez called up on May 15th from their AAA team. He's hitting .344 since his call-up. But defensively, what he has done has been really good for Chicago.
Yeah, they love him at second base. And he is an outstanding defender. If he hits, he'll be a starter.
23 doubles this year, which leads all American League rookies. Way outside.
Simon hasn't thrown many split-fingered fastballs here tonight. In the month of September, that splitter was not very good, and he has not thrown that many here this evening. But he has used that pitch more than any other pitcher in baseball this season.
Swing and a miss.
Oh, what you say?
Swing and a miss.
Okay.
Haven't said that very often tonight for Simon.
Here's our high-speed pitch, and it's brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity a little tardy here tonight. 95 with the fastball for Simon. That's his best of the evening.
A little bit chilly. Everybody moves a little bit more slowly when it's cold. Saladino. Strikeout of the ball game for the right-hander. Saladino was hit by a pitch and then scored on a double by Eaton back in the third. Chopper to the third baseman. Castellanos to second one. And on for a double play. Swinging around the horn, 5-4-3, 5 in the books. Windy Chicago.
First, a solo shot against Chris Sale, a fastball at 96 miles an hour. He was able to barrel it up. A base hit, a hit batter, and a double by Adam Eaton sliced in between Ghost and Rajay Davis. Played it at 2, and that's where we sit right now going into the top half of the 6th inning. White Sox 2, Tigers 1.
Chris Sale back to work here. His numbers over 5 innings of work tonight. 1 walk, 5 punch-outs. And now in the 6th inning, it'll be Romine, J.D. Martinez, Nick Castellanos.
Yeah, first start this year for Romine in that number 2 slot, usually occupied by Ian Kinsler. He has had some at-bats in the number 2 slot, coming in as a defensive replacement during the course of the year. Romine had to step out of the batter's box, man. That wind is really blowing in now, and it's basically blowing him over.
So you're sitting there in the batter's box. The wind is blowing in your eyes, which is probably making the water, and you got Chris Sale in the middle.
That would be the one thing that would hamper you right now. When the wind blowing like this, it will make the eyes a little watery. But as far as defense is concerned, that's where most of the problems lie. Fly balls, pop-ups. Those are very, very difficult to gauge when the wind is blowing as brisk as it is here this evening. Might be one of those days where you put on some real light glasses or something, like Rajay Davis. But I have a feeling Rajay does this for style.
Really? What makes you think that? Swing and a miss.
Style now.
1 out.
It's a good breaking ball here thrown by Sale. And he basically releases that ball, and it looks like it's outside. And as a hitter, you start your swing at a ball that's 5 feet outside that ends up at your back foot. Really haven't seen a left-hander with this kind of slider since Randy Johnson retired.
Here's J.D. Martinez.
There it is again. Took something off of that one at 75.
Who is the most stylish Tiger in your mind?
Like on the field or like
no.
Clothes off the field?
Clothes off the field. Just
probably Verlander. Verlander style. Yeah,
yeah.
Verlander. He gets clean.
Rajay's pretty good too, though.
Yeah. Rajay a lot like Omar Vizquel, though.
A little bit off the beaten path.
Yeah, they're a little out there.
A little colorful.
A little different.
The outfit's a little bit loud.
Yeah, they're a little different.
Here's the 0-2. High and away. Now, when we had Torrey here last year, well, he gave Verlander a run for his money.
He did. He sure did.
1-2 on J.D. Strikeout and a walk in this game. Swing and miss. 95 out of the strike zone. J.D. has him shaking his head. Sale does. That's strikeout number 7.
Yeah, this season, a career high 15%. Swing and miss versus the Sale fastball. And that's the majority of the swings and misses he's gotten this evening. Fastballs up anywhere from 96 to 98, although a lot of them have been out of the strike zone.
Pulled to the shortstop. Look at that play by Ramirez.
Stop it, Alexei.
And Castellanos robbed there. And a 1-2-3 inning for Sale with little help from Alexei Ramirez. Go to the bottom of the 6th. Here at the Cell, and this is the 3rd consecutive season for the White Sox with 85 or more losses. And coming into this year, many had thought that certainly good things would happen here on the South Side with all the additions they made to their roster. I was certainly one of them. I remember it was our first broadcast. We were talking about who is the Tigers' chief competition. I went with the White Sox. You went with the Royals.
Yep, I did.
You won that one.
I just love the Kansas City Royals team. I mean, they went to the World Series last year, and not many people picked them to win this year. And because they didn't really have to go out and do a whole lot in the offseason. And then the Kendrick Morales move, which turned out to be a spectacular move for them, that really went unnoticed.
Yeah, that was met with a lot of skepticism. Oh, he was good.
I was talking to their owner today on the field, Jerry Reinsdorf, and he thought as well that his team was primed this year. The White Sox are getting back to the postseason. But he said things just didn't go right this year for his team. And then we were talking about the Tigers team, and he says the Tigers, they can go through a year like this because they've been to the postseason the last 4 years. He said they've had a really nice run. He says, but we haven't had a run in a long, long time. So I really hadn't thought of it that way.
Yeah, 2005, they won the World Series, but it's been a while now. Leadoff man aboard, the second hit batter for Simon.
Of course, the run that he was talking about was the 4 consecutive division titles the Tigers had won.
I think a lot of people just thought that the Royals might have been a flash in the pan last year. That they could not duplicate their success.
Looks like they're here to stay for a while.
Alexei didn't like that call.
2008 was the last time that the Chicago White Sox have played postseason baseball.
Fly out and a ground out tonight for Ramirez.
Then you got the Cubs doing what they're doing. They're adding a lot of pressure to the White Sox here in Chicago.
Real good point.
Blackhawks, they're getting it done too.
There you go.
Hockey season's here, isn't it?
It is here. The Wings are going to have another exciting team this year.
They're playing tonight on our sister channel.
They are. 0-2 the count on Alexei Ramirez. What's going on here?
Trying to stay warm.
Apparently. Some Tigers fans still making the trip here this weekend to see their Tigers. One out, nobody out. We're in the 6th inning. 2-1 Chicago. Excuse me, swing there by Ramirez. 1-2 the count remains. Alexei with 100 home runs, 100 steals. He's reached those plateaus in his career, and only Ray Durham and Minnie Minoso have done that.
Really?
Among White Sox. Alexei this year with 17 bags and 10 homers. Ray Durham was a good player.
He sure was. Switch hitter.
Broken bat roller, base hit out of the reach of Castellanos. Eaton will go to second, and now 2 on and nobody out. In time for a game break with Justin White. All right, Justin, thank you. Boy, Shin-Soo Choo, man, having himself a heck of a final month of the year.
Was he player of the month in the American League?
If not, I'd like to know who it was. 60 now for Simon. Yeah, Choo was over 400 last month. Melky Cabrera stands in as the White Sox try and add to their 2-1 lead. Ball 1. You saw that Texas team up and personal, close and really when you look at their offense, you know that they can score some runs. We saw how quick strike they can be. I'm just not convinced they have enough starting pitching.
Hamels did not look good to me when we saw him a few days ago. Even though he got the win in that game, he gave up 6 runs, and he did not look like a number 1. We know he can be, but he's got to pitch better for them to go deep in the postseason.
2-0. Melky Cabrera, a couple of pop-ups. He has hit safely in his last 4. Earlier this year, hit his 100th career home run, and that came against the Tigers back at Comerica.
Yeah, Simon's thrown a lot of ground balls already here this evening. He needs another one here desperately.
2-1. Hamels, however, does have the experience. He was the MVP of the World Series in 08 for the Phillies.
Yes, he was.
So he's been through it. Simon ready with the 2-1. 3-1. 2 on, nobody out. White Sox came into this game a half game up on the Tigers in the standings. Chicago in 4th place, the Tigers in 5th. Fouled away, full count, 3-2 on Melky Cabrera. Trace Thompson waiting on deck for the White Sox. Both teams without their big guns in the lineup tonight. Cabrera gets the night off, and Jose Abreu the night off as well for Chicago.
Also, Victor Martinez not playing here this evening, and his numbers against Chris Sale are as good as any against Chris Sale of any hitter he's faced since he's been in the big leagues.
With that quad just not getting any better, and Rod, with the cool weather, I guess, the next couple of days here, I'd be surprised if Victor plays.
Same for Miggy.
Yeah, same for Miggy. Leadoff batter Eaton was hit by a pitch. He's at second base right now, and Ramirez at first.
Is only 2 of 4 in steals of third base in his career.
Drilled to right field, and it's going to be caught by JD. Ball hit hard, but right at him. 1 gone. Well, it's the final weekend of the regular season. The Angels fight for a playoff spot against the AL West leading Rangers, or the Royals fight to secure the league's best record against the Twins, team looking to keep their playoff hopes alive. Coverage starts tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern, only on Fox, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Check local listings for the game in your area. One away now for Trace Thompson. Simon has not walked anybody in this game, but he has hit 2 batters. The first one came around to score. Ball 1. Thompson is 0 for 2. 2 ground ball outs in this game. Showed some power in the minor leagues. 29 homers the last 2 years in the minors before getting his call up this year with the White Sox. Play an outfield position, left, center, right. That's in the air toward right field. Martinez coming in, and there are 2 gone.
Nice job so far by Simon attempting to pitch out of this jam. He's got 1 more big out to get.
It'll be JB Shuck. He has put the ball on the ground twice in this game. Shuck .342 this season with runners in scoring position. He's been a pretty good pinch hitter for them. 7 pinch hits this year. 5 pinch hit RBIs. Getting the start here tonight in right field. Former Houston Astro, played with the Angels and the Indians as well. One.
You don't see many guys choke up on the bat at this level unless they get 2 strikes on them. But Shuck is one of those that does choke up on the bat. Guys feel like they can handle the bat a little bit better. Those that choose to choke up just a hair.
It'll bounce in and away from McCann. One of the runners will move up. Meanwhile, McCann firing back down there to first to try and get Ramirez.
This is the second time today that Adam Eaton has been able to advance on a wild pitch thrown by Simon. But Alexei Ramirez at first base, he was not paying attention, obviously.
Eaton now at third base, Ramirez at first with 2 outs. And Shuck ahead of the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. Bunted foul.
How about that? 2 outs. Shuck bunting for a base hit down the third baseline in a 2-1 count.
2-2 now on Shuck. Gotta admit, that kind of caught me by surprise.
Yeah, he was trying to catch Castellanos by surprise as well.
Chopper back up the middle. This will get him out of the inning. Machado touches the bag for the force. And the Tigers will watch the White Sox stranded pair.
Back in the second inning, it was a fastball top of the strike zone thrown to Jeffrey Marte. And then he hit out for a solo shot. That's the only run the Tigers have been able to score so far tonight against the White Sox ace.
2-1 as we go to the 7th inning now. Chris Sale back out there, a 1-2-3 6th for Sale. Marte leading it off. Ooh, he made him move his feet, and he skipped out of the box. 1 ball, no strikes on Marte.
He's hit 2 balls hard. He lined out to center to go along with the solo shot.
Marte did show some power in the minor leagues before he was called up to the Tigers. 15 homers at Toledo. Not a whole lot of playing time. The Tigers went through that stretch where they were trying to find someone to play first base for Cabrera. I think he went down with a calf injury. And there's a strike call.
It's been a crazy year. And Martinez on the DL. Victor. Miggy on the DL. Verlander, Sanchez. I mean, them are your big boys.
Yeah, those aren't ancillary injuries. Those are big time.
You don't replace those guys. You might have some guys fill in, but you can't replace that kind of talent.
2-2 on Marte. 1-2. Tigers, when Miggy went down, had several guys shuffle through first base. Marte, they had Mark Krause, who was signed. Avila was playing some first. There's McCann waiting on deck. Here's the 3-2. Bouncing ball to short. Ramirez throws him out, one away. We bring up James McCann, and how about the next generation of Tigers, Rod? He's certainly on that list.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. I mean, he's played marvelous baseball this year. And James McCann behind the plate, good leadership skills. Castellanos continues to improve. Iglesias was having a very good year offensively and defensively before his injury. Norris, Boyd, and also Fulmer. We haven't seen Fulmer yet.
Another ground ball to short. And Alexei has this one as well. McCann is out. 2 away in the 7th. And Fulmer had some really good numbers down in the minor leagues. I'm excited to see him pitch next spring and see where he winds up.
And Tigers, although they did not really want to trade away guys like Soria, Cespedes, Price, but they did get some young players in return, some controllable players, and if those players turn out to be as good as many experts out there thought they can be at this level, then they did a pretty nice job at the trade deadline. There's no doubt they're going to go out and get some pitching in the offseason. And they're probably going to be in line for maybe one of those really good frontline starters. Wouldn't shock me.
0-2 on Machado. Of course, they got a frontliner right now in Verlander, who came back nicely in the second half of this year.
He does look like that guy, doesn't he?
Yep. Got that swagger back. More importantly, the results are back. Here's the 1-2. Chris Sale has 10 ground ball outs in this game. 2 more in this inning. Pitch count at 92 right now for Sale. Trying to get through the 7th, guarding a 1-run lead. Fly ball right field. Ball hit pretty good. Shuck going back. Still on the run. Diving and making the catch. Juggling and holding on to it.
Oh my goodness, J.P. Shuck.
It bounced out of his glove into his bare hand. What a play by Shuck.
One of the finest plays you're going to see this year by a right fielder.
Sox still lead 2-1. Coming up, the McLaren Health Plan 7th inning stretch. Whoa.
Right-handed bat, and the ball is slicing away from him. It goes in the glove, pops out, and then right into the left hand. That's one of the finest catches you're going to see this season by any outfielder.
Ball was stung off the bat of Dixon. Machado looked like it might carry over the head of Shuck, but he made a great play.
And it was slicing away from him. Timed his jump perfectly.
Adam LaRoche leading it off as we go to the bottom of the 7th, and he sends a ground ball to first, foul.
Darryl Boston, first base coach who handles the outfielders here, I know that he was very proud of J.B. Shuck after making that play. Darryl Boston, former #1 draft choice of the Chicago White Sox.
Here's Simon's 0-2. Lifted down the left field line, slicing away from Davis. Sliding play out there in left.
Rajay, he flashed some leather too.
One gone.
Very important to get great jumps. Rajay got a great jump on that particular line drive off the bat of LaRoche. Took a direct route to get there and made a nice sliding grab.
Tyler Flowers, single, and a pop-up for Flowers. Flowers' occasional power, 9 home runs. That wind is howling out to right field. Ball high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Flowers had a 4-hit game on Wednesday against the Royals here. Swing and a miss.
A real nice bender there thrown by Simon at 76 miles an hour. And located beautifully.
Simon tonight being overshadowed by Chris Sale. Simon gave up the 2-run double in the 3rd. It really has been in. He has hit a couple of batters. He has now reached 80 in the pitch count.
Yeah, any stress that he's created by himself with a couple of wild pitches and a couple of hit batters, he's been able to pitch out of.
Tried to get Flowers to chase on back-to-back pitches. Wouldn't do it, though. 2 and make it 3-2 now. Carlos Sanchez on deck. Here's the 3-2. Low, ball 4. It'll be a 1-out walk. We'll follow the Tigers wherever you are with MLB.com and BAT, the #1 app for live baseball. And BAT is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcast, and more. Get MLB.com and BAT for your smartphone or tablet. Here is Sanchez with a man on, a man out. Chopper back up the middle, might be 2. Machado going to try and backtrack, and they get 1. And Sanchez aboard in the fielder's choice.
It's a nice job here by Dixon Machado. He and Wilson both went for this ball because you didn't know which one was going to get it. And then, of course, Wilson was out of position, so that meant Machado had to cross the bag and then get back over to the bag to tag it with the glove to get the force out.
Bring up Saladino. Hit by a pitch and a double play ball off the bat of Saladino. In there, strike 1.
Alfredo's had a real good fastball all night long. Now that last one at 94, but he's been up to 95 in the game. He's got some good movement, throwing some good breaking balls. Not many splitters used tonight by Simon. That pitch was not a very good pitch for him the last few weeks. That's when I like Simon, who was at his best with that 94-mile-per-hour fastball. You can look at the numbers here against the splitter, the slugging percentage. He had 477 in the month of September. That was the highest against Simon in that pitch since 2009 in a calendar month. I think what we're seeing here tonight, Mario, is the fact that both he and Chris Sale are throwing quite a few fastballs. Real cold night. Hitters don't particularly like swinging the bat in this type of weather, and they're exploiting that.
It seems like when Simon has gotten in trouble, that splitter has stayed up. He's not been able to pitch to the bottom of the zone.
He hit one batter tonight with that split finger fastball. I believe it was Saladino back in the second. That was a splitter. Get eaten with a fastball.
Activity in the bullpen. Matt Albers warming up for Chicago.
You wonder if Brad will use Miggy tonight as a pinch hitter, whether he'll use Kinsler as a pinch hitter tonight. It's a one-run game. He's got some great options on his bench here this evening.
Oh. Yes, he does. It's an all-star bench tonight. One and two on Saladino. White Sox a 2-1 lead here in the seventh. Ground ball left side. Right there is Castellanos. This pick at first base by Romine. Inning over. Nothing comes to the walk. And we go to the eighth.
Chris Sale has been dominant here tonight, and he's been dominant against a lot of guys this year. Fastball's gotten all the way up to 98. That backdoor slider, he has thrown that fearlessly on the outside part of the plate. And then he's also buried that slider down around the right from the right-hand batter. Not many change-ups used tonight by Chris Sale. He's been on one here this evening.
Here is a comparison between the two. One other thing to consider, Simon 11 ground ball outs. Sale has 10 ground ball outs. So a lot of baseballs hit on the infield here tonight.
Both guys have gotten it done in different ways. 7 punch outs tonight for Chris Sale. As you mentioned, just the 1 strikeout for Simon. But Simon's thrown fewer pitches than Sale.
Wilson lines one to left. It's down the line. Fair. Going to be extra bases. He's on his way to second, and he's going to pull in with a double to start things off here in the 8th. Second hit tonight for Josh Wilson.
And Wilson got a breaking ball that was up that he was able to get out in front of and hit over the head of the third baseman, Saladino, for a leadoff double. And you wonder if Anthony Gose will be up there sacrificing. And trying to get Wilson to third base.
Third double of the year for Wilson. Ghost doubled, a ground rule double over the wall his last time up, and he tried to bunt. That ball hit him, and that'll put Ghost aboard.
Here we go.
The Tigers, or the White Sox, have had 2 hit batters tonight. Now Ghost is plunked. 2 on, nobody out.
It's a breaking ball that gets away from Sale. And you got Anthony Ghost right on the right back of the right leg.
It's going to be it for Sale, it appears. Robin Ventura coming out.
They haven't made the move yet.
No, the reliever's coming in for the
Albers
bullpen.
is running in already.
Nobody told him he's coming in now. He can turn
I
around.
can tell him.
Albers was headed back to the bullpen. So it's a wall side windows pitching change. Chris Sale gets a nice round of applause as he leaves. Now Matt Albers will come in for Chicago.
Albers has a fastball that gets up to about 90, 91 miles an hour. He also throws a slider about 17% of the time. He also features a changeup, but not very often. Mostly fastballs thrown by Albers. Yeah, the bunt is in order here for the Tigers. And Rajay Davis, in case you're wondering, he only has 1 sacrifice bunt all year, and it looks like Miggy, at least as of yet, not getting ready to pinch hit at all.
Albers has a 21 1/3 scoreless inning streak. Longest active streak in baseball right now.
Roche, their first baseman, anticipating a bunt here.
Rajay squared. Albers stepped off.
If you're Rajay Davis, you want to go down toward third base. You want to go in this direction. You want to keep it away from this guy at first. Roche, he can really defend down there.
Rajay jabbed at it and missed the bunt.
Anytime you see that barrel of the bat drop like that one just dropped when Rajay attempted to bunt, either you pop it up or you miss it. Rajay is very lucky that he was able to miss that one, because look at the barrel of the bat. As soon as this barrel drops right there, usually you pop that ball up.
Here's the 0-1. Swinging away, and he fouled it back. 0-2. 2-1. White Sox lead. We're in the 8th. Leadoff man double. That was Wilson. Ghost hit by a pitch. Sale taken out of the game.
And the 0-2. Rajay in the ballgame tonight. Strikeout, line out, fly out. High fly ball to right field. J.B. Shuck is drifting under it. Wind takes it a bit. Runner from second will tag. And to third base goes Wilson. So first and third now, 1 out.
It's a nice job there by Wilson, who was running at second base, and he wasn't sure whether he was going to tag up or not, but then he saw that Shuck in right field was having difficulty getting behind this ball, and then he got back to the bag and he was able to tag up and get to third. It's one of those plays where the wind was kind of wreaking havoc on Shuck, and he couldn't get behind that ball to make a good throw to home.
So Don Cooper is out now. A one-run game here, and that's something that Chicago is certainly used to. 57 games decided by 1 run this season. That's the most in the major leagues. This has been a 2-1 ball game since the third. Zach Duke, the left-hander, warming up.
JD is happy that Chris Sale is gone. Chris Sale punched JD out a couple of times here this evening.
Stands in now with 1 out, first and third. Strikeout, couple of groundouts for Romine. Ball 1. Two runs on 5 hits for the White Sox. Tigers a run on 5 hits. Draws the throw. Anthony down there has stolen 23 this year. Flowers throws out at 14.5% from behind the plate. Line drive to left field. Runner will tag. Catch is made. They're going to try and score. Now Wilson goes back. Wilson bluffing a run down the line. The throw was high, but he went back to third. There are 2 gone.
A ball not really hit deep enough for Wilson to tag up, even though he bluffed. And even if he keeps coming, he probably would have been safe because the throw was offline, but that's way too shallow to try to tag up on the arm of Trace Thompson. And Wilson's wishing that he continued to go, but you can't anticipate that it's going to be a poor throw by the left fielder.
So with 2 outs, here is J.D. Martinez. J.D. struck out a couple of times against Sale, who departed the game with 7 strikeouts. Swing and a miss, 0-1.
And J.D. Martinez already with 23 2-out RBI in 2015. And that wind is still blowing at a real brisk pace. J.D. had to step out of the batter's box momentarily.
The career highs for J.D. Martinez this year. Games, hits, doubles, homers, RBI.
He showed up. He showed up.
Awkward swing there, and it's 0-2.
First pitch breaking ball was not a comfortable swing taken by J.D. Two-seam fastball at 90 miles an hour down and in right there to J.D., and he looked uncomfortable on that particular pitch.
it's 0-2.
Two-seam fastball again.
Ground ball to third. What a stop there by Saladino. His throw is in time. A rocket hit down the third base line, and Tyler Saladino makes an outstanding play.
Back in the 7th inning to take a double, possible triple away from the rookie Dixon Machado. And Saladino also made a real nice play. Two-seam fastball inside into J.D. Martinez, and he barreled it up, but Saladino was playing right on the line.
Well, it remains a one-run game as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Top of the order coming up. It's Adam Eaton for the White Sox. Chopper to the shortstop, Machado. Just got to first base. Eaton hustling down the line, one gone.
Always does.
Now Ramirez. What an outing tonight for Alfredo Simon. Allowed 5 hits, 2 runs.
Ton of ground balls.
Center field, ball is hit well, goes to the warning track. Ramirez is out. 2 away. Hey, October means baseball, and FS1 continues to be your home for postseason action with the American League Division and Championship Series. Don't miss a single moment of the drama or history. It all begins Thursday on FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Closer, David Robertson warming up for the White Sox. "12 ground ball outs tonight for Alfredo Simon. That is a new season high. Here's the 0-1. 0-2. Melky Cabrera is 0 for 3.
And his pitch count is in outstanding shape. He's only thrown 93. Up until this point.
Hit to the other side of the infield. Machado jump stop throw. Got him.
I see you, Dixon. I see you.
Terrific play by Dixon Machado. Another ground ball out. Simon, who gives him some love.
Looked like a young Derek Jeter making that play.
And a 1-2-3-8. Dixon flying through the air. Let's go to the 9th. All right, Justin, thank you. Here it is 2-1 as we go to the top of the ninth inning. Our game summary, Alfredo Simon awfully good tonight. 13 ground ball outs. And Marte with a home run in the second inning. It was a solo shot. And, well, to this point, the only Tigers run. They'll have to make a comeback here against the closer for the White Sox in a well-set Windows pitching change.
Well, he's blown a few this year, David Robertson. He has 33 saves, but he's blown 7 of those. A 3.47 ERA. The whip is still under 1. He's punched out 84. He's only walked 13. So you know he's going to be around the dish.
Nick Castellanos leads it off. Robertson has done a really good job of getting that first hitter anytime he comes in. The first batter is hitting 102 against Robertson this year.
That's really important for guys that close out games.
Robertson took the loss on Wednesday, gave up the game-winning 2-run shot to Eric Hosmer in the 10th inning in that game against the Royals.
Yeah, Robertson had a really nice run while he was closing games for the New York Yankees. But the Yankees had some interest in Andrew Miller in the offseason. They signed him to a 4-year contract. That meant that Robertson had to find a new address, and he landed in Chicago. He's one of those moves, Mario, that many people thought that once they were able to acquire him, along with Samardzija, LaRoche, and also Melky Cabrera, this team had a chance to contend in the Central.
Strike called, and he got him looking. Castellanos out of there, 1 away.
That cut fastball at 91, he learned that from Mariano Rivera. The best to ever throw the cut fastball. It's not a slider, that's a cutter.
Nick thought it was low. Well, here is Marte. Marte homered against Sale in the second. Ball 1. Otherwise tonight, fly out and a ground out. White Sox got 2 in the third after the Tigers got a run in the second. Nothing but zeros since. Back him out of there, but it's a strike call. Jose was skipping out of the box. Two and 1. Sale went 7 plus 2 batters. Albers came on to get 3 outs after the Tigers had runners at first and second, nobody out. And now Robertson here in the 9th. 3-1 on Marte. Each club with 5 hits tonight. Neither team has an error. 3-2 now on Jeffrey Marte. 2 clubs will go at it again tomorrow night. Then a day game on Sunday to wrap it up. Verlander and Eric Johnson tomorrow. Can't believe it.
It's another one of those cut fastballs that Marte gives up on, and probably with 2 strikes, even if Mr. Fostrack shows that it's off the plate a shade. It's one of those balls that you must swing at.
Ooh, it's more than a shade.
Yep.
Yeah, it's ball 4 right there.
Yeah, very generous call there. Yeah, given to Robertson. Too generous, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, in a 1-run game, man. Probably some chirping going on right now from the bench.
Yeah.
Doug Eddings, home plate umpire, was looking in.
Oh, yeah.
Here's McCann. Now McCann's going to have a word with Eddie.
This ball may have been a little lower than the one that punched out Jeffrey Marte. And not Marte, but Castellanos. Pulled up very nicely by Flowers to get the call from Doug Eddings.
Sale tonight at one point and retired 9 straight. Tigers haven't had too many chances. Here's the 1-1. Now it's 1-2, and the Tigers are 5 down to their final strike.
Yeah, Brad got up out of his seat.
Two. Fly ball in the air towards center field. Adam Eaton is under it. And the White Sox win game 1. 1-2-3 go the Tigers in the 9th. A well-pitched ball game.